Hello there, how are you? Welcome back. Well, my son asked me to put in a whole house water filtration system like I have out here at the barn on his house in town because of all the chemicals and stuff coming into the water, the chlorine smell, just I guess issues with the water drying his skin out, whatnot. So I turned the water off at the meter, dug inside of the fence, found the water line, made this cut in between the water line, and this is where I'm going to tap this entire filtration system at. Now the water's going to come into this T. It will go up through the filters, out and back in over there on the other side where I'm putting the glue on right now. In between those two T's there will be a shut off. So say for some reason Florida we have a freeze or whatever, I can actually open that shut off and it will let the water run straight from the meter into the house. We can shut down the shut offs I'm going to put on this filtration system, and then we can empty the canisters, or I say he can empty the canisters. That way things won't freeze because those canisters are going to be above ground. So this is all 3/4 inch thick wall PVC. I'm using the cleaner, which is the purple, and the Rain or Shine glue, which is this deep blue, to put things back together underground with PVC. Above ground, I'm actually going to be using PEX pipe, leftover PEX pipe that I had, and all of this stuff is going to be 3/4 inch. So that is the shut-off valve, and the nice part about this shut-off valve as well is for some reason he needs to turn the water off to his house. He can just shut off the valves on the filtration system, have this valve shut off, and he'll never have to mess at the meter again. So that's kind of a bonus out of this setup. So to get to that shut off valve, I just took some simple thin wall PVC, cut the little horseshoe shape on either side. That way it could just slide right down over the pipe, but it would leave that valve exposed down in the pipe. And you'll see a better shot of this a little bit later. Now to keep the footprint of this setup pretty compact, tight proximity to the fence, I opted to put one extra elbow in right there at the T to bring the filtration system in line where the first upward feed comes across, instead of coming straight off of that T there by my left hand and then elbowing it down here by my right hand. Again, I'm trying to keep the footprint right in line with the fence, close to the fence or close proximity of the fence. That way somebody doesn't inadvertently dig and hit this. Meaning probably me. Okay. So at this point I feel it's only fair that I let you know this is kind of a two-part video. Part one is the filtration system installed where it's actually functioning. Part two is going to be the protective box that I build to go around the canisters and the pipes. Protect it all from the UV rays of the sun and from the inclement Florida weather. So as you saw, I ran out of my regular Teflon tape. In the same box I happen to have my gas Teflon tape, which is thicker, which is nice because instead of 8 wraps around this brass fitting going into the PVC, I used 4, and then I used this Teflon putty as well. When I was at the store picking up a couple extra PEX adapters, there was a plumber in there and he was telling me to definitely use the putty Teflon on top of the Teflon wrap to get a really good seal between these two connections. And believe it or not, I was so grateful that he had me do that. I had 0 issues with leaks at my fittings. So I'm at this point converting over to my PEX pipe. And again, I'm using the PEX because it's what I had left over from working out at the barn. This just shows how that goes down over the pipe. So the pipe comes in, the handle's right in the center down there. And it'll keep, number one, dirt and stuff from filling back up on this. And again, this will also be within the enclosure that protects the filters, so I won't have to worry about it filling up with rain or bugs or whatever. And I keep saying my son. Oh my goodness. Anyway, fill this back in. Got everything packed down around the bottom really well, and now I'm just getting all the PEX pipe attached so I can get these filters attached. Now, something else that I decided to do, you have to leave enough room to get the filter canister off of the housing. So basically double the height. So what I did was I used the box that these canisters came in to basically get my mark. I didn't really measure anything. At this point, everything above ground was, well, even the stuff below ground was eyeball if it would fit in the general area. So that will be the water coming into the filters. I'm just flushing it out a little bit. Okay, so at this point, it is just a matter of eyeballing it to fit. I'm utilizing the boxes that the cartridges came in to get my height. That way I'll have the clearance necessary. I say my son will have the clearance necessary to change these filters out. And as you'll notice there, I've got regular Teflon tape instead of the gas Teflon tape. It took like 8 wraps of this regular Teflon tape and the Teflon putty to ensure a good solid seal going into the side of the cartridge head housing, I guess you call it. Now the big key with this, make sure you do not get the Teflon tape or this Teflon putty on the end threads. You don't want any of that to come in contact with the components of the interior of the filtration system. So I tightened this down hand tight, and then off camera I used my channel locks and tightened it down the rest of the way. Now I'm simply going to go ahead, get all 3 canisters set up. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing the system as far as distances from each other, getting things cut to the length that I like. Looks relatively level and even, and I'm just going to go ahead, use my little ratchet pliers that crimp down the little connectors, and then I will start flushing the system out. Some dirt did get into the lines, so it was at this point I went ahead and flushed out all the canisters. With everything cleaned out, I went ahead and installed the 2 white 1 micron filters and the 1 micron carbon filter. And this is the point that I stopped at for the day. Turn it on, turn the filtration on, check for leaks. Next week I'll show you what I came up with as far as a cover for this. Alrighty then, y'all have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day. I'll see you next time. Take care.